Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Would you raise your hand if you have a seat next to you that's empty? Oh, no, it's not that way. My name's Toby. I'm a community organizer for 1 Million Cups. This is a weekly, not entrepreneurial, educational entrepreneurial program. And I think we have new folks here. Can you raise your hand if this is your first time coming to 1 Million Cups? Welcome. Anybody who has been here for a long time, make sure you introduce yourselves. Again, my name's Toby. This is Brian, Britton, Milton, Courtney, and we are your community organizers. Today we've got two presenters. We always have two presenters. They speak for 6 minutes, and then we have Q&A after that. So we also have panelists over here on the side. If you guys want to take a second to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Ben Cottrell, co-founder of DoodleKit, a do-it-yourself website builder for small businesses. I'm also a technical consultant and advisor for a few startups in Kansas City, and I host an entrepreneurship podcast called Spare Room Radio.
Hi, I'm Julie Edge. I'm one of the co-founders of Creelio. We are a custom content platform for executives who want to build their brand to help their company. And I'm also on the founding team for SparkLab KC.
Cool, thanks guys. First up, we have Tim and Tammy with T3 Interactive. And come on up, guys.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Nice crowd, thank you. I appreciate a little love this early in the morning. My name's Tim Wickstrom. I'm the CEO of T3 Interactive. I'm here with my co-founder and partner, Tammy Palazzo. She's our Chief Marketing Officer and Head of Sales. She's the guru of all things business. So I have a question for you. How many of you here pitched before to an investor or hope to pitch to an investor? Pitch to your colleagues, coworkers, your team? Do you present? Absolutely. Well, take a look at this saying. This saying is true for what we know to be true about presentation skills. There are two sides to the equation. There's content and there's delivery. And what I know is happening here right now is you've already assessed how comfortable you are listening to me as a presenter. And we've gotten through this much content. Yet when most of us are practicing, the first thing we do is look at our PowerPoint. What's my message? What do I want to share? Yet we often miss that access to the other side of the equation. Who helps me deliver this presentation? Who's going to coach me and give me feedback? How many of you have hired a personal coach? Attended a workshop? Why aren't more hands being raised? Why just a few of us? We know it's critical. Because it's access. Here's the problem. In today's world, the only way in which we can get support for our presentation skills, the ability to deliver a message in a competent, credible, knowledgeable way, is to hire a trainer or a personal coach. The challenge that comes along with that is it's subjective feedback, it's access. Do you have the right subject matter expert in front of you? Do you really trust what they're advising you? What is good, what is great? Part of that problem is also the antiquated process for giving you feedback, so the opportunity for you to see what we see as an audience. It's the best teacher in the world. I have been doing this type of coaching for nearly 20 years. I love what I do. My challenge is reaching enough people and being able to give them the ability to not take what they learn in the workshop and forget it. It's for them to be able to continue that learning. How do they take that opportunity to get feedback, subject matter expertise, and see what we see as an audience to improve their delivery skills? So what solution do we have for that? At T3, we have Presenter. Presenter is a brand new technology that takes sensor-based learning technology, couple that with subject matter expertise, and in a very unique way, we're able to scale presentation skills training in a software format. So we're going to show you a brief video that shows you how that happens. Just a few of the components so you see it. We're dealing with sensor technology. We use the Microsoft Kinect sensor, laptop, and of course large screen TV. The bigger the better. We're going to show you a brief video that demonstrates the capabilities of our software, and then we'll talk about customers and where we're going after that.
Welcome to Presenter, your personalized learning program for public speaking and presentations. We understand the importance and value of strong presentational skills. Almost everyone is asked to deliver presentations at work, whether it be to colleagues, clients, or executives. In fact, anytime you speak in public, you are public speaking. It is critical that you manage these opportunities to speak in front of others with ease and confidence to allow your expertise to shine. Presenter is designed to provide you with opportunities to practice your skills in a safe and comfortable environment at your own pace. Practice as much as you want. Presenter gives you instant, consistent feedback, and you control when and if that feedback is shared. Here you see me working through a voice practice session. My goal here is to gain feedback from my presentation style. I have chosen both power words and watchwords before my presentation. The software keeps quantitative metrics of my use of these words. I chose feedback, scalability, cost, and quantitative as my power words. I chose expensive, fear, subjective, and metrics as my watchwords. The program tracks my use of filler words such as actually, so, and or It also notices any long or short pauses that are in my presentation. In addition to voice practice, Presenter also has practice sessions for eye contact, as well as gestures and postures. Here you will also see me work through a gesture practice session. Along the right side of the screen is a list of common gestures or poses presenters use that impact the way the viewer perceives them or the information they are presenting. Notice that as I am making these gestures, the software flashes red when I first make the gestures, and then tallies when I have stayed in that gesture long enough for the viewer to notice. Presenter tracks your progress over time so you can see your improvement. One of the best ways to use Presenter is to run through a presentation and get feedback on your skills in your report card. And for the first time, we can offer quantitative measurement of presentation delivery skills. For more details on any one of the skills, click the corresponding box. You can watch your video on your own to see your skills and get a deeper understanding of how your performance aligns with your scores and content. There are a lot of other great features in Presenter, including several different practice modules and opportunities to share your scores and videos quickly and easily. If you'd like to see more, please contact us for a live demo. Thanks for watching.
We had a little bit of a video sync challenge with embedding our video into the PowerPoint, so we might have been a little bit ahead. What you're seeing on the screen now are some of our customers. We launched the product in April of 2014, and we've been very successful with bringing the product into a couple of different key verticals, pharmaceuticals being a big one. And in fact, pharmaceuticals really brought us into the marketplace because they saw our product and saw an opportunity to really go to an area that was mission critical for them, which was training doctors and training salespeople. We see the opportunities for Presenter being in those traditional corporate environments with salespeople, with executives, with anybody who is going through any type of customer-facing or is in a customer-facing role or needs to go through any type of development. We've had really great success in that market. We're looking at the education market. We're beginning to make some inroads there in terms of looking at ways to bring it to college students as well as high school students. And we're looking to expand into different corporate verticals as well. Sales, finance, real estate, places like that.
So that wraps it up. What questions do you guys have for us?
First off, let's start with the panelist over here.
Can you talk a little bit more about your pricing model and how much it costs?
Absolutely. We have two different pricing models. We offer the product in two different ways to our customers. We offer it as what we call an event solution. So at a meeting like this, for instance, if there were people here who wanted to be able to get what we call speed coaching. We set up stations for people, and they can come through for 15-minute coaching sessions, and for that we charge between $5,000 and $10,000 a day per station, depending upon the customer, depending upon how many people are at the event. We do sales meetings, we do conferences and events like that. For individual users, which is really where the bulk of our business is, we're charging $150 a month per user.
Can you explain, I mean, is that an ongoing $150 a month? Have you?
Exactly, it's a recurring, it's a subscription model basically. So it's a recurring charge monthly. And essentially what happens is that customers will buy it for a period of time if the individual is on a learning plan, for instance. So they've gone through presentation skills training and they want to get additional coaching after that, they might license the software for 6 months. Some of our clients are licensing it for the year and just giving people access to it when they need it. But it's a one-on-one license. So I, as an individual, would have a license for a period of time, and that would be $150 a month for me to be able to use it.
So tell us a little bit of what you see as the lifetime value of your customer, what kind of revenue are you expecting per customer, and how long do you expect to keep them?
Right now, we're just beginning to introduce the licenses, so we're really learning as we go in terms of what we see the lifetime being. Our ideal scenario with our clients is that they buy enterprise-wide licenses. We don't want to be selling one-off, so we don't want to be selling to one user at a time. We want to be selling enterprise licenses to companies so that an entire team has access to it. If that's the case, we have a long lifespan with a customer, so instead of going to a team of 10 people and they're getting $1,800 per person per year, we're looking at doing multi-million-dollar deals with a customer so that the entire enterprise can have it. And we've talked to a couple of different companies about how they can incorporate it into their entire learning team so that it's part of all of the learning that they do. Presentation skills is a piece of all learning that people do. So it's not just whether you're learning presentation skills or getting training in presentation skills, it can be incorporated into all different types of learning.
I might add just a quick point about that. So you're talking about the learning aspect of it, and one thing that's true about presentation skills is that it's mechanical, which means you never perfect these skills. It's a constant juggling act. One thing I'm doing really well, I'm going to be mindful of something else I need to improve upon, and the software is formatted in a way that it helps you sustain that learning over time, because as you change your content, something about your delivery skills are going to suffer because you're introducing a whole new aspect of your presentation. So it is that constant reminder and that gatekeeper, if you will, are my scores where they should be? And for us, for the first time, instead of saying, great job on this, adequate there, do better there, we quantify it. If you could see that in the video, that we give you a score. Our analytics give you an actual number that tracks your performance improvement. So for the first time, you can quantify return on investment for a soft skills delivery. And that's very new in this industry.
Just a quick comment. So whenever I went to your website, I was trying to figure out what T3 Interactive was, and then I was presented with the concept of presenter, and in my mind, you're only selling presenter, right? You're not selling T3 Interactive at this point in time. So just my opinion would be to kind of make presenter more of a, even its own website, even its own product, so that I don't have to think about, okay, well, this is the software company and they have this product. That's just a quick suggestion. But I'm more curious about you two and where you kind of came from and why you started this business.
Sure. Tim has a long history in the training world. So as he mentioned before, he's been training for nearly 20 years. We both come out of the consulting world, so we met 5 years ago working together at a consulting company. I come from the business side, so I have the experience with the customers. I've been selling sales and marketing and business development for corporate customers for 25 years. So the idea was really born with Tim in that he saw the opportunity to really scale what he does. Presentation skills and any kind of communication skills training has been done the same way forever, and it's live instruction. And we know that there's only so much that we can do. We know that if we were the behemoth in the marketplace, there's still a limitation to how much we could do because you have to bring human beings in. So to see the opportunity to do something in a virtual way, and there hasn't really been a solution to do this because e-learning has never been an option because you need the live feedback that we're now able to offer. So the idea was born with Tim based on his experience in the training world, and we kind of came together and said, okay, how can we turn this into a business and how can we start marketing it to our customers? And we hit the ground running when we started talking about this 3 years ago by immediately bringing our customers into the conversation.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to that. you know, to Tammy's point, I mean, I love what I do. I love being that in-person training. Every time I have a workshop, you get that aha moment. Somebody learned something. The challenge I have with it was, I'll go away after the day, and then I only hope they remember a fraction or a piece of what made them more confident, and that's really what we're doing. We're our own worst enemy. You're so glad I'm up here and it's not you. We're in a really good place right now because when we stand up here, we feel as though we're being assessed, and we are. Where our confidence comes from is, what are you assessing me on? And that's the piece people don't get. So when you leave a workshop, oh my gosh, you feel so much more confident, but in a week, I'm not going to remember being there. And if I can remember one thing, that's great. So this is that opportunity that I saw and brought to Tammy to say, how do we take people that I see year over year over year for the same workshop, learning something new, how do I make that last longer for them? And this was the solution we came up with.
It's a very innovative and I think a powerful solution. It's this quantified self we keep hearing about, the shot tracker and Fitbit and things like that. Quick suggestion, I'm sure you're aware there are a lot of consultants that coach, right? This is something you could license to them. I know a few
Absolutely.
that would love this as a way to help them coach on.
That's actually part of our business model. So from a sales perspective, when we started the company, we thought, how can we deploy this quickly? How could we scale our sales really quickly? And we partnered. We created a network of distribution partners that are essentially training companies that are already out there selling it, and they see this as a point of difference for them because they've been selling the same product for years and years and years, and suddenly they were able to go in with some new and innovative solution. For us, we couldn't go out and hire the people that, you know, we were able to get so much more, and one of the reasons why we were able to generate almost $200,000 in revenue last year without, you know, really putting our, putting a whole sales team together was because of those partners.
And I think there was a comment about, and I'm going to jump right to it, I saw it, there was a comment about repeat clients, so I didn't want to miss that. Of all of these, all of them are repeat clients with the exception of one that just finished a pilot process. So what it does for the trainer or the training organizations, that sticky factor. How do I stick with that customer? They don't forget about me when the workshop's over. This is that leave behind that keeps you engaged with them.
Let's go ahead and open it up to the crowd. I think Brian has a question right in the middle.
Hi, thank you. Love your product. I'm 10 years in the military, and in the military there's tons and tons and tons of trainings and briefings and death by PowerPoint and everything else. And I'd like to point out to you guys a bit of advice that there is a huge market. As an NCO, one of my biggest roles is teaching my younger people how to do briefings and PowerPoints and death by PowerPoint as well as possible. So a bit of advice for you, there's a huge market there for getting into that. You can go to the individual units, they've got discretionary funds. You can go to base education offices, they've got discretionary funds and able to do these things. And that's somewhere that I think you can find a lot of success and a lot of support for a product like this because there is a lot of death by PowerPoint.
Don't leave, we'll find you.
Yeah, really. We want names and numbers.
We have a question right up front.
Two general sets of questions. I really like your idea. The first one is, how does your system work in terms of adapting to different styles? For example, someone may not use a PowerPoint. Someone else may use videos or demonstration items. So that's one set of questions. The other is, how do you account for cultural differences if you're going around the world?
You want to talk about keto?
I'll talk about the second part, and he can talk about the first part. So we actually deployed the product in South America. We did a program in Quito, Ecuador in January. What's great about the software and what's great about presentation skills overall is that it's a mechanical skill. So what you're doing is not necessarily related to specific language. What we do know is that in different markets around the world, different gestures, for instance, are going to be perceived differently. It's something that's absolutely in our development pipeline to be looking at that for localization in different markets. What we did find, though, by bringing it into Ecuador, was we were able to take the language piece out of it because there's really no language in there. Even though there are words that you saw in the video, there are words that show up, those can be put in any language. It's really getting down to the gestures. That we know is probably the biggest piece that's going to have to be customized, and we've already been talking to our clients about that. It's certainly something we're going to be looking at doing.
So to the answer the other part of that question and to tap onto that as a transfer, what the product does is gives you feedback. It gives you a level of feedback that you can't even get from me as a live trainer. It's taking several live trainers and replicating them side by side and giving you feedback simultaneously, counting all of them in various areas. So it allows you as an organization to be prescriptive. So to your point, if some clients don't use PowerPoint, we have the ability in our software for you to upload your own PowerPoint so that you can now record yourself, and in the playback, it connects your delivery skills with each slide you're on. Regardless of your media, our focus with the software is around your delivery. So we don't critique the content. We do give you the option of uploading PowerPoint because that's the most widely used tool out there in presentations today, even with cool new opportunities out there. Whatever your content is, what we focus on is how are you delivering your message around that. That's the gatekeeper for whether people will listen to your message, ignore it, or be okay with it. Does that help? Perfect.
Okay, question in the middle.
Hello, I'm Jim. The last several years I've been in economic development, but I've also done a lot of lecturing at various universities, and every university seems to have endless amounts of training sessions, and very few of them revolve around anything like public speaking or presentation skills. And so essentially universities tend to employ an army of people who do public speaking and presentations for a living who are not trained in it. And so I'm curious, have you approached academia or gotten any traction in academia? Similar to what he was saying about the military, I know there's a lot of training funds, and I'm just curious where you guys are at with that.
Absolutely. That became very apparent to us very early on, that academia was a great market for us. And in fact, we've just been approached by a university in Connecticut that is interested. They have a business school there, and they're interested in bringing the software in for all of their business students. We know that we could probably put the corporate piece aside and just focus on academia, and everybody would be really happy and our investors would get really rich. We get that. We know that it's an important market for us. What you just said and what the gentleman before you said, this is why we are really excited about this business, because there's so many opportunities where the support is not there. And it's usually not there because there's not funding for it. We're offering a really cost-effective solution for that. We're creating something that never existed before. And that's all these different opportunities are what we saw immediately, and we're beginning to see validation on as we go out into the market, that people are, yes, we need this, and you're giving us a way to do it in a way that's really cost-effective.
And we have another question in the middle.
Good morning, Bob King. Last question keyed up mine about academia.
Bob.
Hey, Apple and Adobe and all those, they get market shares by offering student discounts, giving stuff away. 90s, every course I've taken, every college degree, they've said companies need people with presentation skills. They've said that for 20 years. I don't see colleges up there. How can you get into the colleges, offer student discounts?
Yeah, so I'll take the college part. You can jump in on the discount. So to Tammy's point from the education piece, I think it helps us to go back and talk about how we're scaling. So for us, where we come from and where the majority of my experience has been over the years is what you see up here. It's in the biotech and pharma world. So when we started developing this beyond the concept, we partnered with several of these organizations to say, does this resonate? Without seeing a demonstration or an example, it's really hard conceptually to grab onto. We quickly realized that that educational market is a really huge whale for us. What we have to be prepared for is to scale to that opportunity. And so where we're at from a development perspective is we're local based. Right now we're going through the process of building out our cloud and infrastructure to help support that kind of deployment. That will allow us an ease of delivery. It'll also allow us access to the data, the analytics. That data is so incredibly important to us because it's never been found before. To really be able to quantify, are there trends in how people perform? Are there generational differences? We know that, but how do we now quantify it? That's how we'll be able to make that happen.
Yeah, and just from a pricing standpoint, we're testing pricing. We haven't even touched it yet. As I mentioned, we are going into one university in Connecticut, and we're going to be looking at that. We're looking for these different pilot opportunities to begin to test what does a discount look like. We've been very fortunate because we're working with corporate clients, and they pay a lot of money to do it. We know we really need to revise that, but they're allowing us to kind of get our feet wet, and now we can begin to look at some different pricing models.
Got a question for you in the left. Nice presentation, which is no surprise considering what it is you do.
Better be.
Thank goodness.
And a nice business model, a nice product. It looks well-rounded. You know, my question for you is thinking about the 3 years that's taken you to get here, thinking about where you're at today and the challenges you're addressing, and realizing that even though this was a nice presentation, you have a good business model, you have a good product, there's got to be 100 things that you'd like to do to take it to the next level in the future. So as entrepreneurs, how have you been able to successfully balance meeting the needs of today without kind of getting sidetracked on, gosh, we need this, and gosh, we need that, and gosh, you know, what about the college market? How do you just keep going day after day, week after week?
We're old. You're old. We've done this for a long time. We've both had a long professional career. We are really, really disciplined. We raised money in November of 2013. We raised a small round of friends and family funding, and we stretched that money out. So we've really had to be very disciplined about what we did. The temptation is always there. We're talking to you about Presenter. We're building a platform. We could do 20 other products. You know, to the point before, T3 is not going to just be Presenter, but we've had to really temper ourselves to do that. And it's really just experience. You know, we didn't say, oh, we raised money, let's go out and buy an office. You know, it was really very disciplined approach to let's work with our customers, let's deliver something to them that they want, that's gonna make sense, and let's let it grow. We say it all the time, we've been doing this for a long time, should we be further along down the road? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we're exactly where we need to be. We feel really good, and we're starting to see the traction and a momentum build. When we started the company, one of the people that we initially spoke to as an advisor said, oh, you're too early. This technology is too early, like nobody's going to adopt it. And we said, no, we're not. We're just going to go slowly, and we'll get there when we need to get there. There was no urgency. We didn't feel like anybody was on our heels. Now we know the technology is becoming a little bit more common. There's more sensor technology. It's not just the Kinect. So we're accelerating, but we took the time to learn and make sure that we did things right, and we made a million mistakes, by the way. But at least we really paced ourselves, and it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Got another quick question for you.
Hi, I'm curious. My name's Mike. Can you give us some feedback about some of these customers, how they use the tool, what kind of success rate they've had based on the tool, and just kind of give us a little more feedback on that?
Sure. So there's a couple of things that actually ties into Tammy's comments just a minute ago. We were so methodical about our growth. We did hear from one moment, you're not going fast enough, to you're way too early. And in that partnering process, what it afforded us the opportunity to do was to do a pilot with one of our partners, H&R Block, which was really instrumental for us. It allowed us to understand what the application looks like in our eyes. What we've come to find out is every time we demo the software, our clients have a unique application for it. We don't know their business as well as them, and it's always intriguing to us that, oh yeah, we've heard that one before, or that's a new one. The software itself, they find the proper application that solves their problems. What they understand is scale and affordability. Live training versus a software solution is an incredible variation. So we see them do them in events. We see them, our licensing is starting to pick up in bulk items. We see them as training opportunities for training organizations, but they literally find their own solutions for their own business, whether that's their high potential employees, grooming high potentials, their C-suite executives getting their own license so they can do it in their hotel room, on the road. It only takes a 20-minute interaction with the software to replicate a full day of training. So I know in training a group of 10 or 12 people for one full day of presentation, the amount of time I get with them one-on-one averages 15 to 20 minutes. Now you can have that 15 to 20 minutes once a week, twice a day. That's incredibly powerful. So they scale it to their own solutions.
Okay, real quick.
Please.
Our final question, what can we do as a community to help you?
Come talk to us. You know, here's where we're at, just real quickly. Tammy mentioned we've raised our first round November of 2013. We're in the process of our second round. This is, again, a very thoughtful round that is allowing us to round out our team and really grow our sales. So our opportunity is, come talk to us about what's in the market. Come talk to us about what's in your community. If you have training organizations that we can hook up with, we're building a training community. And talk to us if you're interested in investing.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First off, for announcements, I would like to invite Nathan Kurtz up to the stage to give us a little bit more about 1 week KC that's coming up early next month.
Thank you. On the way out today, make sure you grab a flyer. 1 Week KC is starting up in 1 month from today. What is 1 Week? 1 Week KC is an event we hold each summer to unite entrepreneurs, to get these connections made. There's a whole list of events, starting with a rookie lunch. So if you are new to the entrepreneurship community, check that out. If you have people you want to invite to the entrepreneurship community, check out that lunch. All the reservations are made on the oneweekkc.com website. I want to highlight E-Day at the K, so that's one that the Kauffman Foundation and Sprint are funding with the EDC. Tickets are $20. Come watch the Royals beat down the Cleveland Indians. That's right. And do it with a crowd of us out in the stands. Events all throughout the week. Check it out. It's a really fun week of events. Grab a flyer and start RSVPing because most of these events do fill up. Thank you.
And I believe 1 Million Cups is a part of that week, right? There you go. Okay, so other announcements for this week on our sheet. Gig Hacks KC is this weekend. There's a startup grind on May 13th. If you haven't been to this program, it's a great way to get to know some big business leaders in the community one-on-one. And then we also have an ECJC Angel Series pitching to investors. So if you need a little bit more help with your presentations, go check that out. Our second presenter today, I'm really excited to have here. They have one of the best branding positions, I believe, in the community right now. So I would like to welcome Rachel and Beth from Belladonna's Cupboard.
Hi, I'm Beth. This is Rachel. I spent most of my adult life working alongside the music industry. Rachel has a background in business. Together we have 15 years of experience as makeup artists, and we are Belladonna's Cupboard. We're a locally based cosmetics company, but we have customers all over the world. Our products are vegan, cruelty-free, gluten, and paraben-free. We are a brand for several niches that many mainstream brands leave behind. We've worked closely with the pinup, burlesque, music, and horror communities to develop and improve our products. By going on tour with bands and working in haunted houses, we have firsthand experience and knowledge of the needs of these subcultures. Our effects paints hold up for hours without the need for a barrier spray. We have a true red vegan pigment, something very difficult to accomplish, and the blackest black gel liner and pigment that we've found anywhere, and we openly challenge anyone to find us a darker one.
Beauty consumers today are looking for brands that are ecologically conscious, don't support animal cruelty, and are honest about their products and sometimes scary-sounding ingredients. They want to know, where did this come from? What's in it? Is it natural? Is natural better? Answers to these questions are scarcely found without extensive research. We hold ourselves accountable with total transparency to instill our customers' trust and support in new formulas. Makeup is a tool for self-expression. Too often, choices are limited because of price and availability. It is hard to find quality cosmetics that cater to alternative styles at affordable prices. It is even harder to find gluten-free, vegan, and cruelty-free brands that cater to these styles. These bold trends are cornered in the cosmetics industry by high prices and boutiques. We manage to solve these problems while saving our customers money and at the same time maintain a 94% profit margin. Women are tired of being told how they should look, of having their body parts, sizes, and features dissected by the beauty industry. It is time that we embrace and encourage the message that all women, and indeed all people, are beautiful.
We offer free education and support to our customers and to stores that choose to carry our products through free online video training and printable tutorials. We help put the power and control back into the hands of the individual to define their own beauty and express themselves freely by using makeup as an artistic medium.
Self-expression revolution. Self-expression revolution basically just means that people of all sizes, styles, sexual orientations, gender identities, genders, age, deserve respect. It seems like a pretty simple concept. But apparently we haven't figured that out yet in the 21st century. So we must be crazy to think this, right? That's why we are makeup for crazy bitches. On March 6th, at the Express Gallery in the Crossroads, we did something kind of like a living performance piece, that's what this was, for the First Friday's Art Walk. We took 4 models and each had them represent some kind of social issue and problem with what we're talking about with self-expression revolution. We had a model that represented fat shaming, skinny shaming, another model that's head to toe in tattoos pretty much that represented by dressing in business casual attire, how difficult it can be for people who choose to express themselves in an alternative fashion to find traditional employment. Even though for most occupations, I can think of very few where having tattoos and piercings is going to be any kind of hindrance to your actual performance. And then on the end here is our slut-shaming model, who has her face obscured by makeup for the reason of people not looking at her face to begin with. No one's thinking about her as who she is. They're thinking about what she's wearing, and she wasn't wearing much. The other ones also had insults carved into them with effects makeup based on things they actually had heard themselves in their lives, been told to them about themselves and their body and their traits.
The reason we chose carving is because a lot of the girls themselves express that people throw around insults and judgments, and people just tell them to, oh, well, shrug it off. Well, you can shrug it off all you want, but those words stick with you. So the idea was that it's carved into your skin. They can go home and wash this off, but the real words that people were saying to them, even that night, it's essentially carved into your soul. Into your soul. So deep.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about doing this is that the models got to experience firsthand some of the very things they were representing. They had signs around their neck detailing what they were talking about. It wasn't like it was ambiguous. It wasn't like it was, any kind of mixed message. But very early in the night when we first opened up, a woman came into the gallery and went up and found the manager and complained that the girls were dressed like whores. Isn't this exactly the point? Isn't it the problem? And a couple different points throughout the night, similar things happened. Our slut-shaming model, she went outside and
holding the sign around here. She was wearing like a mini skirt and I think a bra top.
Mm-hmm.
Covering that was the sign. And a woman stopped and said, "What's behind your sign?" And so she moved it down. And she's like, "Oh, I thought there were supposed to be boobs behind there." Like, that's the whole point, lady. Read the sign.
And at another point in time, a gentleman came into the gallery and walked right past the fat-shaming model to go over and get a picture with the skinny-shaming model, who was standing right next to her, completely ignored her existence, even though they're dressed identically.
It wasn't until after they took a picture together that he realized what they were saying, and he read the message, and he's like, "Oh, I just did that."
Throughout the night, the models kept coming up to us and telling us how thankful people were. They were coming up and thanking them for doing this. People told their own stories about things like this that have happened in their lives. And despite these negative reactions, I think it's a message that really permeates right now, and everyone wants to hear it. That's why self-expression revolution is important. We are also working on trying to get together a fashion show for Self-Expression Revolution, where we're going to do the same kind of thing, where people can come in, get their makeup done, carve out their own issues through the makeup, and we're wanting to be for social cause and donate it to charities. So if anyone has any ideas for venues or places we can hold it later this summer, that's something that we are looking for.
Aside from that, if you are interested in makeup lessons, you can have them delivered straight to your inbox if you text makeup to 66866. Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation. We want to open it up to our panelists to begin with questions before we take it to the audience. Thank you.
A great presentation, and I think you've got, I don't know much about the makeup industry, so I don't know how much of this is out there, but to me it seems like you have a really unique product in the effects makeup, just sort of a way for people to express themselves beyond just eyeshadow and mascara. And what I noticed on the website was, if it were me, I would put some sort of image that kind of exemplifies that right there, and then a link to your store, right? Because that's what you want people to do is buy. And the store link was kind of obscure and hard to get to. It's just a little suggestion, so I feel like you're kind of in this position where you're between what would be maybe a lifestyle business and something that could be a lot more, and something that could be a national brand, something that could be really big. But what I'm wondering is, do you feel ready for that? Is that something that you want to do? And what are you doing? Are you looking for resources to help you kind of take that step? Or are you guys just comfortable just being something that's fun to do, going to shows and doing events?
No, we definitely want to take it internationally. And in fact, the majority of our customers and the orders we get from our online store come from overseas. There's a lot more of our style in Europe, it turns out, mostly from Scandinavia. We also work with international tour promoter Mama Trash, and have worked with her bands to go on tour, like we said at the beginning of the presentation, to kind of get feedback on the kind of things. We cater specifically to performers and musicians, but anyone can wear this makeup. We also have a couple of classic lines that tone it down. We're becoming very well known in the burlesque community in Kansas City for that, because we have very pin-up-esque makeup as well, and not everyone does that.
I would highly recommend getting involved in an incubator or some sort of program, fast track, something, because this next step is going to be really difficult, and there's going to be a lot of challenges that you might not be prepared for. So that's a really important. The reason I say that is because I feel like with that you could do a lot.
We are actually Beta Blocks alumni, which we probably should have mentioned in our presentation.
Great, ladies, excellent presentation. I'd like to hear more about the market and how big you think it is and how you're going to reach that market. I mean, you're in a very small niche right now, which is incredible, but to really run a scalable company, how far do you see it going, and how are you going to reach them?
Well, I think this is how every major makeup brand started out. They either go to a lab or they start in their kitchen, and they do have to brand themselves very, very specifically and push that niche until it's killed. And that's how makeup companies get bigger and expand. We've studied all kinds of companies that have gone from indie to national or international brands, and it still started that way. And a lot of them have done things we're doing, like partnering with international models and bands to gain exposure. And that's sometimes when that takes them to the next level. Like Sugar Pill in 2011 was where we are now. And now almost everyone knows who they are. Any makeup artist is going to know who they are just off the bat. And they are big, they're huge, they're world known.
They got that way from sponsoring a musician named Curly, right?
Before she broke out of Estonia and came to the US and started getting big here. And so that's kind of the path we're taking along that. I mean, I know it's very specific. We're probably not going to be, in Walmart and, like CoverGirl, but most people, most women of a lifestyle and style that we're going for, or people in general, they're really looking for that next step. Colorful makeup is becoming more ubiquitous, it's becoming more common. People want bright, they want dark, they want edgy, and companies like Urban Decay that started out small and got bigger and then bought out have changed some of their formulas. They're no longer vegan, and so people are constantly looking for new, and then once those brands become established, they stay. That's just kind of how the cosmetics industry works.
What do you see as your biggest barrier right now to moving forward? What's standing in your way?
We come from a low-income background, and so bootstrapping for us has been exceedingly difficult. We officially formed the company a year ago after spending a couple years doing research and making stuff on our own. We launched our first small line of products in August, and then we're launching more stuff right now. We keep getting better, we keep getting more each time we do it, but we are very limited in what we can do on our own, and we have no outside funding. We've never sought it, we've never done it. We've been trying to bootstrap it, but we don't have a lot of access. We can't just pull from a line of credit, we can't just pull from friends and from family. That's not the background we come from. And so that's been a big hurdle to us so far. We found the most success as far as we have 2 stores locally, 3 others that are waiting for us to be able to actually fill the orders, and then we have stores in Los Angeles and New Orleans that are asking us to come back and bring them product. There's definitely a want for it, it's just a matter of getting there. And we've had more success pitching in person than anything else because they see us, they see what we do.
People want to be able to try the makeup and touch it and experience it before making any commitments to it.
Because we are so unknown.
So online sales is not a big part of what you do now, or is it?
It's about half. I mean, we're really pushing to get into stores. We want wholesale distribution through retail stores. Because people they prefer to try makeup out in person. That's just kind of how it works. Until you get so, well known that people know your brand automatically and they know what it looks like because they've seen it so many times.
Thank you. We want to open it up to the audience for questions, and we've got one over here in the back.
Hi. Have you done much around your gallery night with the models and doing a social media piece on that and putting it out there and seeing kind of the response and the message and how receptive the people are to the message? And it also would look at shining light on what you do as far as your products?
Yeah, that was actually the plan. It ended up being kind of last minute, and that's why we wanted to do something bigger, like a fashion show later in the summer, that we can actually focus on that and get that kind of big social media sharing. But even we didn't even take any pictures that night. There were a couple photographers who showed up and took pictures of the event, and they got spread around like crazy. And people were just like super excited, hey, look at what they're doing. It's all about body acceptance and positivity and being who you are. And we didn't even try to push that out like that. So it's definitely something we'd like to try and do.
We have a question on the right over here.
You mentioned you have videos, and I'm wondering, one of the things that I think people aren't widely aware of is the process of testing on animals. And so I'm interested in seeing if you do any education around why vegan and cruelty-free is important.
We haven't. That's something that actually hadn't occurred to us to teach, because it's something that we know that a lot of people are looking for. They're looking for cruelty-free, they're looking for vegan because it's not widely available. But that's a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. We should look into implementing that.
Question in the back, right?
Hi, I saw you guys at Demo Day for Beta Blocks, and I went home that night and wanted to carve jealous into my head. I mean, your brand's awesome, and your profit margin's there, and so I think you guys said you had a lot of success at like concerts and things like that. Mm-hmm. Why not do like booths where you're selling at concerts or trade shows in your realm, take that profit and go to the next one, like 2 or 3 a week, and just steamroll it that way where you're turning your profits into the next trade show? Because that seems like where you would increase your sales and your customer base quickly, or something like that. Have you tried anything like that?
That's actually our plan. Because we do want to scale by getting into more stores around the country and around the world, and we have a lot of interest in that. We just have to go and get them and, actually close it down. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to schedule it out so we're on the road constantly, and we're going and we're selling at festivals, raising awareness, selling at trade shows, raising awareness. And then while we're in these different cities, we can pitch, 10, 15 stores in a day. Just get in there in 2 or 3 days and just keep going around the country and traveling and selling that way. Because, we could sell at festivals and make an income, but it's not going to scale that way.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Okay, another question back here.
My girlfriend and I are really big fans of RuPaul's Drag Race. Is the drag queen market one you've looked into?
Oh, we've been wanting to. We're not entirely sure how to break into that. And actually, we have some products we're working on right now that will be of very interest to that.
I'm sure that
lifestyle.
sponsoring Ru's show is ridiculous, but perhaps his podcast, maybe look into sponsoring or doing interviews with that.
Oh, we'd love to. We're always open to sponsoring different musicians, performers, anything, because then they pimp our stuff out because they're getting free stuff. And it costs us very little, as you can see from our profit margin, to actually do that. That's a great way. But usually when someone is that well known, they already have makeup sponsors. And so
the difficult part with getting a drag queen to wear your makeup is, if you ever met a drag queen, they are the most critical people you will ever meet when it comes to their makeup. And it takes them a while to trust a brand enough to wear something regularly. But we do know a few that seem to like our products, so I'm taking that as a compliment.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it doesn't have to be very big. Makeup sponsors are everywhere. We have friends who are in a band in Chicago, and they are nationally known, but they're not very big. They have probably how many likes on Facebook, like just for scale?
Probably closer to 100,000.
Because Lord of the Lost only had 25,000. They had less.
They
than
had
that.
more than Lord of the Lost.
Seriously? Okay. Well, I mean, that's not 100,000 people on Facebook. Sorry. As we sit here and banter. But they have a Mac sponsorship, and they're not even that big. So I mean, it's getting in there at the right moment before someone takes off, or finding someone who just loves your product, which we have done a few times, and that's part of why we're doing, as well as we are so far.
Trust me, I'm working on getting them away from Mac, because they're not vegan either.
Mac has exclusivity deals, so that's...
I have a question back to your left.
Here's what I love about you is that you know who you are, and you're just authentic up there. It's really cool to see. And as entrepreneurs, this is a skill that I think a lot of us struggle with, is we try to be so many things to so many people, to so many markets, and yet I sense that you just do this naturally. I'm not even sure how aware you are, how authentic and how just in your space you are. What tips could you have for the rest of the entrepreneurs in this room in terms of how to know who you are, exude that, and use it to drive your business?
Honestly, neither of us like being told what to do or how to look or act or anything like that. So, I mean, we were given tips on how to dress when we're presenting at an event like this, and I woke up this morning and I'm like, I'm wearing what I normally wear. I don't care.
Yeah,
This is what I'm comfortable in.
We did the Beta Blocks demo day, and I was told I couldn't have my wig, the one I'm wearing now. I had to wear
Couldn't have Rob Zombie
my blonde
either.
wig. I couldn't wear Rob Zombie. And afterwards, people who were watching us, some of the mentors who were watching us, while we were practicing, you're like, you should have worn Rob Zombie. You should have worn your dreads. And so, you know what, we're just like, and people do still respond to it, and they do still respect us, and that's part of what we're preaching. We're preaching self-expression revolution. And part of that is being able to be who you are, dress like you are, do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody pretty much, and still be able to rock at what you're doing and without anyone judging you. I think it's time that we can do that with people. But aren't most entrepreneurs pretty irreverent? Isn't that probably why they became entrepreneurs to begin with? Don't they want to be their own boss? Don't they want to, carve something out in the world? It seems natural, but yet we're all in here in suits usually, so.
Question.
I'll wear Rob Zombie next week. It's cool.
Question back right again.
Hi, that was a nice presentation. I can relate to the word revolution, and mine had to do with the gluten sensitivity revolution about 15 years ago. So I noted that you mentioned your products are gluten-free. Can you tell me how commonly people request that, or how important that is to your clients, and how long do you think that's been a big factor for makeup? We hear a lot about gluten-free food and what goes into your body, but what you put on your body is very important with respect to sensitivities as well.
Let you take that one.
Well, that's actually one of those things that we really should focus on more education on, because like you asked, people don't know that gluten in cosmetics can affect people with celiac or gluten sensitivity, but it can. And people don't know that gluten is ever used in cosmetics, but it often is. It's used to keep things together just like any other ingredient for that is. And so my mother and grandmother were both celiac. And my mother cannot wear a lot of makeup because it does contain gluten. Even though it's not on the label, it's hard to find, you really have to research it, but she can get really sick. People with true celiac disease really shouldn't do it. Is it going to hurt you unless you have celiac gluten sensitivity? Probably not. But because so few companies are aware of that and are taking steps to, help people in that situation, it's important to us, and we're going to keep it that way.
Got another question for you here in the middle.
Okay, I'll admit it. I don't think I'm the only one here. I came in here with a lot of reservations. I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was like, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, why are they presenting? You blew, all right, but you handled the presentation well, and you blew away the questions. So two days ago, the Koch brothers removed the box. They're no longer doing criminal background checks as a part of the application process. They're waiting to meet the people. I see a parallel with that and what you're doing with the, the body image and the makeup, all that. Do you agree? And what else can we do to widen that job pool and meet the people before we judge them?
Just making it so that people are more accepting. I mean, it's one of those things that, people were not accepting of different races and backgrounds and sexual orientation overnight. They're not going to be accepting of lifestyles the same way. People are creatures of habit. It's just psychologically a fact. But I think the more we open up ourselves up to possibilities, the better off we're all going to be. And so just spreading that awareness. And in big cities now, for the most part, people are doing more, hiring for people who do look different. I mean, you have people working in banks with piercings and colored hair now. and that wouldn't have happened 5 years ago. So I think we're going in the right direction for sure. It's just a matter of making people be comfortable in looking at anything other than, straight up average. And there's nothing wrong with, whatever you want to wear is fine. If you want to look that way, it's fine. But a lot of people have come up to us all the time saying, I wish I could do that. I wish I could look like you. I wish I could dress that way. I wish I had that much style. I wish I had the courage. And people don't because they're afraid of being judged. And so that, to me, is the problem. If you're happy with how you are, nothing wrong with it. Absolutely. That's what you should be doing. Do it, all day long. But if you're not, then why do we have this barrier in looking how we want to look and dressing how we want to dress and acting how we want to act? Because it's not hurting anything. It doesn't affect your ability to do a job as long as you're being polite and treating people well. I don't see a problem with it.
All right, we have a question over here on Twitter from Lauren Caldwell. Do you create the makeup yourself, or do you purchase it from a wholesaler?
We do make it ourselves. Everything is handmade by us, and we formulated it.
We have a question in the middle.
Hi, I'm Abby. She actually took my question, but that's okay. I have another one. My question was going to be, how did you guys start making the makeup? Was it in the kitchen, and what the purpose was of you making the makeup? But she got that covered. So my next question, and this is an easy one for you guys, is how did you come up with your name? How did you come up with Belladonna's Cupboard? I think it's a great name. I think it suits you guys. As you can see, I have the faded red hair. I kind of push the limits in my company as the sales director, but I have origins in LA. So a lot of my background is a little bit more free than it is, in different parts of the country. So I just kind of want to know where you guys got that from.
There are actually two reasons that we use the name. One of them is Belladonna is the Italian word for beautiful woman. Cupboard is just, I keep my stuff in a cupboard. I don't know where you guys keep your stuff. The other reason is with alchemy, and there's plant Belladonna atropa, which is deadly nightshade. Because women are dangerous.
Women are dangerous. Deadly but beautiful, that whole edgy thing. And it also, because the whole Belladonna atropa thing, it leads to the whole alchemic history. You think kitchen chemistry, and that's what we're doing. So.
By the way, I like your hair.
Yes.
Okay, great.
We got a question over here.
We are tight on time, so we're going to have to catch that offline if that's okay. Thank you so much. Wonderful job.
Thank you very much.
So we've got something new, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this yet, but we've put up a new website. There's been a lot of people at Kaufman and at Crema Labs that have been working on this for quite a while, and we're going to put that up on the screen. So if you have been to the new website, there's an opportunity to I think the term is follow us, and what that means is you'll get an email each week that'll give you a overview of what's going to be happening at our event. So I just want you guys to see that. There we go. Follow. And when you do follow, what happens, Courtney? You create a user account. You can actually do that through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Are you guys going to add MySpace? Yeah. Okay. Although to get on MySpace, you can use your Facebook login now. So what happens is you actually get to get an email each week, and this is kind of cool because in the odd circumstance, if we had a bad snowstorm or something happening, if we had to cancel something, you'd actually get notified. So please check out the new website, follow us so you're up to date, and I believe we'll be able to put the new announcements in each week as well. So that's more traction for that. So that's all we have. But oh, you can also apply to present. If you want to add your company, this is one thing. You can, when you create a user profile, you can add your company, but you don't have to apply to present. The path kind of takes you down a road to apply to present, but you don't have to do that. So you can actually just attach your company name and logo to your user profile. And when the app comes out for the mobile, that'll be kind of cool to be able to use while we're here at the meetup or the event. Thank you. All right, so that's it for today. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Thank you for coming. If you tell your friends about it, bring a friend next time. We'd love to see you. Thanks so much.